and Teresa, they all know each other. Everybody knows each other. If you sit down on Facebook and just keep digging, everybody knows each other. Even the mom that came out, did you see the video where the lady came out and she said, "That's my daughter in the casket"? She said out of her own mouth, "I used to live down the street from where Teresa is living right now." She said that. They went to the same church. And Rob, like I said, he's on the Justice League, and he's down there. He knows.
Nobody really, they only speak of Kenneka. Nobody speaks of Antonia Evans.
So basically, look.
Who is, since you have the information, who is she?
Antonia Evans is 48 years old. She is the daughter of Miss Barbara. Miss Barbara reached out to Chosen and was like, "Look, man, that's my daughter in there." Because you have to remember, they took everything out of Kenneka's body. Everything, from the brain, everything down to the bones. Cremated her. And then so now we need a body to put in the casket. That's not Kenneka. It's just not. What I'm saying, if you really pay attention, think about it. How is there a girl walking in a hallway when you're literally adding people into the video footage? The news is wicked. The mom never comes out. She hasn't said anything about this. She's not.
Miss Barbara hasn't? Is that who you're talking about, Miss Barbara?
I'm talking about Teresa. Miss Barbara came out and told us that was her daughter. But the reason why she did it is because she wants more money. She wants more money. She just wants more money. And it's really hard, like I said, for people that have not watched a lot of these videos, it's going to be hard. Now, this is what I do. When I watch Chosen's video, he comes up with receipts. I always check for myself. Always. I came out of my pocket to get information, to make sure that what he's saying is accurate. It is accurate.
What do you mean you came out of your pocket? You paid?
I have to pay for that. I've actually paid. I paid for the 36-hour footage. I'm sorry, I think it's 72-hour footage. I paid for that footage when they put it out. They sold people that footage. They made a lot of money off of this. What I'm saying, they made a lot of money off of this. But if you just take a look, this doesn't make any sense. And this is so crazy to the point to where...
December 6th, 2025, Chicago streets. Freezing cold. A woman is walking barefoot through the snow, completely unclothed, screaming words that make everyone stop and stare. "Justice for Kenneka. Look what they did to my body." Her name is Teresa Martin. 8 years ago, her 19-year-old daughter, Kenneka Jenkins, was found dead inside a hotel freezer. The case was closed as an accident. A $10 million settlement was paid. But now, Teresa is walking through Chicago in sub-zero temperatures, claiming she was silenced, that she was lied to, and that the truth about her daughter's death has been buried.
Oh! This is my blood. For my blood. We don't like that. Go home, baby. Justice for Kenneka. Justice for Kenneka, but yes, baby, this is not how you get it. Please, I plead the blood on you.
But here's what's even more disturbing. Just weeks before this breakdown, Teresa posted on Facebook claiming she was forced to accept the settlement, held in rooms for hours, and pressured into silence. She says she still doesn't have her daughter's clothes, phone, or answers. What really happened to Kenneka Jenkins? Why did her mother just recreate her daughter's hypothermic death in the streets of Chicago? And what are the 10 shocking facts about this case that will make you question everything? This is Crime Bitz, and today we're counting down the most disturbing details of a case that refuses to die. By the end of this video, you'll understand why millions of people believe the official story is a lie. Let's dive in. September 8th, 2017. 19-year-old Kenneka Jenkins was excited about a party at the Crowne Plaza Hotel in Rosemont, Illinois. She was a nursing home worker from Chicago's West Side, known for her caring nature and infectious smile. This was supposed to be a fun Friday night with friends. She arrived at the hotel around 1 a.m. with friends, heading to room 926, where the party was happening. Security footage shows her entering the hotel, laughing, seemingly having a good time. But here's the shocking part. By 4 a.m., her friends were calling her mother Teresa in a panic. Kenneka had vanished. The friends claimed they searched everywhere but couldn't find her. Teresa rushed to the hotel at 5 a.m. and immediately asked to see security footage, but the hotel staff were reluctant to help. They made her wait. They told her the police would handle it. Meanwhile, the clock was ticking, and Kenneka was somewhere in that building, fighting for her life. What makes this fact truly shocking is what happened next. It took nearly 24 hours to find Kenneka's body. She was discovered at 12:25 a.m. on September 10th by a hotel employee in a walk-in freezer in an unused kitchen area on the lower level of the hotel. She had been there the entire time, dying while her mother begged for help just floors above her. Here's where things get really strange. That freezer where Kenneka died, it was located in a restricted area that hotel guests should not have been able to access. The kitchen had been leased to an outside restaurant and wasn't part of the hotel's regular guest areas. The door should have been locked. The lights in both the walk-in cooler and freezer were reportedly turned off. So how did an intoxicated 19-year-old girl navigate through a dark, restricted commercial kitchen and end up inside a freezer? Security footage shows Kenneka at 3:20 a.m. stumbling through hotel corridors, clearly impaired, using walls for support. The final footage capturing her alive was at 3:32 a.m., showing her approaching the kitchen area. Then nothing. No cameras inside the kitchen itself. Here's what's shocking. Walk-in freezers have emergency release mechanisms on the inside. They're specifically designed so people can get out if they're accidentally trapped. So even if Kenneka did wander inside, she should have been able to escape, unless she was immediately unconscious, or unless someone else was involved. The civil lawsuit later proved that the hotel was negligent in securing this area. But negligence doesn't explain how Kenneka found her way to such a specific, hidden location. It doesn't explain why the freezer was even operational in an unused area. And it doesn't explain why someone didn't find her sooner. Teresa Martin has been consistent about one thing since day one. Her daughter's belongings have never been properly returned to her. Specifically, Kenneka's cell phone has never been given back to the family. Think about that for a second. In 2017, everyone lived on their phones. Text messages, social media, photos, call logs. A phone is a digital footprint of someone's last hours. Kenneka's phone could show who she was communicating with at the party, whether she arranged to meet someone, whether she was in distress, whether someone lured her away. But the family has never received it. Teresa claims in her recent Facebook post that she's still missing her daughter's clothes, shoes, cell phone, hair, and the list goes on. She says she's been promised these items repeatedly, but has never received them. Why? What's on that phone that authorities don't want the family to see? Or is it simply lost in evidence, a bureaucratic failure in an already botched investigation? Teresa also mentions Kenneka's hair being missing or damaged. Some people have speculated this is evidence of a struggle or assault. Others think it might have been damaged during the autopsy process. But without transparency from authorities, we'll never know. The missing evidence adds fuel to the fire for people who believe this wasn't an accident. Because if it was just an accident, why wouldn't they return a grieving mother her daughter's belongings? The Cook County medical examiner ruled Kenneka's death as accidental hypothermia. But the toxicology report revealed something that made a lot of people suspicious. Kenneka had alcohol and topiramate in her system. Topiramate is a prescription medication used to treat epilepsy and migraines. It's also sometimes used off-label for weight loss. But here's the problem. Kenneka wasn't known to take this medication. Her family says she wasn't prescribed it. She didn't have epilepsy or chronic migraines. So how did topiramate get into her system? The medical examiner concluded that the combination of alcohol and topiramate hastened the effects of hypothermia, essentially meaning she passed out faster and couldn't save herself. But conspiracy theorists jumped on this detail immediately. Some believe Kenneka was drugged without her knowledge. Topiramate can cause confusion, drowsiness, and disorientation, symptoms that would make someone an easy target. If someone slipped this drug into her drink at the party, she would have been extremely vulnerable. This is where the theories start getting dark. Was Kenneka drugged intentionally? If so, why? Was it a sexual assault attempt gone wrong? Was it something more sinister? The official investigation never determined how Toppermate entered her system. They assumed she took it recreationally or was given it by a friend. But without her phone records or witness testimony confirming this, it remains a disturbing mystery. Okay, we're only at fact number 7, and already this case is making your skin crawl, right? The missing phone, the mysterious drug, the impossible freezer access. Nothing about this adds up. If you're feeling what I'm feeling right now, I need you to smash that subscribe button. Crime Bitz exists because viewers like you refuse to let suspicious deaths get swept under the rug. We dig deeper, we question everything, and we demand answers. Hit subscribe, turn on notifications, and drop a comment right now telling me, do you think Kenneka Jenkins' death was really an accident? Let's talk about it. Now, let's get to the really disturbing theories. Warning, this fact involves a deeply disturbing allegation that has never been proven but has been widely discussed in connection with this case. Shortly after Kenneka's death, a theory began circulating on social media that absolutely exploded. Was Kenneka Jenkins a victim of organ harvesting? I know how that sounds. I know it seems like something out of a horror movie, but let me explain why thousands of people believe this theory. First, the condition of her body. While the family has never been allowed to publicly discuss autopsy details, Teresa Martin's repeated references to missing items, damaged condition, and lack of transparency have fueled speculation that something was done to Kenneka's body beyond what would be expected in an accidental death. Second, organ trafficking is real. It's documented. It happens. According to the World Health Organization, organ trafficking is a global criminal enterprise worth billions. Young, healthy individuals are sometimes targeted, and hotels, with their transient populations and private spaces, have been linked to such crimes in other cases. Third, the topiramate. Some researchers online noted that certain drugs are used to sedate victims before organ removal procedures. If Kenneka was drugged, was it to make her compliant for something far worse than assault? Fourth, the freezer itself. Organ preservation requires immediate cooling. A commercial freezer would be the perfect place to preserve a body and organs until they could be harvested or transported. The fact that Kenneka ended up in a freezer specifically seemed too coincidental to some people. Fifth, the alleged presence of suspicious individuals at the party. Some social media posts claimed there were people at that party who weren't friends of Kenneka, people who seemed out of place, people who may have been targeting vulnerable young women. Now, let me be absolutely clear. Law enforcement has found zero evidence of organ harvesting. The medical examiner's report does not support this theory. Kenneka's autopsy showed death by hypothermia with no indication of organ removal. But the theory persists because people cannot fathom how all these coincidences, the drug, the freezer, the restricted access, the delays, could happen by pure accident. They believe there's a darker explanation that authorities either missed or covered. Let's talk about the people Kenneka was with that night. Her friends, the people who were supposed to protect her. According to reports and social media investigations, the friends' behavior both during and after Kenneka's disappearance raised serious red flags. First, the timeline. Kenneka's friends claim they lost track of her at the party and searched for her before calling Teresa around 4 a.m. But why did it take so long to realize she was missing? Room 926 was a hotel room, not a mansion. And if they were truly worried, why didn't they call police immediately instead of calling her mother first? Second, social media activity. In the days following Kenneka's death, some of her friends allegedly made posts that people found disturbing or suspicious. Screenshots circulated showing friends seemingly joking about the incident, making cryptic comments, or contradicting their earlier statements. Some even allegedly deleted their social media accounts entirely. Third, inconsistencies in their statements. When questioned by police, the friends gave varying accounts of the night. Some details didn't match up. Some people couldn't remember important facts. This could simply be the result of intoxication and trauma, or it could indicate people hiding something. Fourth, the Facebook Live video. One of the friends was doing a Facebook Live video at the party, and Kenneka can be seen in the background at certain points. People have analyzed this video frame by frame, claiming to see evidence of Kenneka being uncomfortable, arguing with someone, or appearing more impaired than she should have been at that point in the night. The theory is that something happened in room 926, a fight, an assault, an overdose, something. And the friends either panicked and moved Kenneka to the freezer, or they left her somewhere knowing she was in danger and are lying about it to cover their tracks. Law enforcement investigated all the friends and found no evidence of foul play. No charges were ever filed. But many people, including some of Kenneka's family members, have never forgiven those friends and believe they know more than they're saying. Fact number 4. This is perhaps the most undeniably shocking fact of the entire case, and it's the one that even the courts agreed was unacceptable: the 24-hour delay in finding Kenneka's body. Let's be clear about what happened. Kenneka was reported missing around 4 to 5 a.m. on September 9th. Her body was found at 12:25 a.m. on September 10th. That's approximately 20 hours. She never left the building. She was inside the hotel the entire time. The hotel had dozens of security cameras throughout the property. They had security staff on duty. They had a frantic mother demanding action. They had police who were called to investigate a missing person. And yet somehow it took nearly a full day to find a young woman who was dying in their basement. Here's what makes this even more shocking. The civil lawsuit proved that if hotel staff had properly and immediately reviewed the security footage when Kenneka was first reported missing, they would have seen her walking toward that kitchen area. They could have searched that section of the hotel within an hour or two of the report. Instead, according to court findings, they failed to thoroughly check the footage. They failed to conduct a comprehensive search of the premises. They failed to take the missing person report seriously enough to act with appropriate urgency. The question that haunts everyone: if they had found Kenneka even 6 to 12 hours earlier, would she still be alive? Hypothermia doesn't kill instantly. Depending on the temperature of the freezer and her physical condition, she could have survived for several hours before succumbing. The delay might have literally been the difference between life and death. This is why the $10 million settlement was paid, because even if you believe her death was accidental, it was a preventable accident. She died because people failed to do their jobs. That's negligence. That's liability. That's justice, or at least the closest thing to justice Teresa Martin would ever receive. Fact number 3. In October 2017, Rosemont police held a press conference to present their findings. They released security footage, explained their theory of accidental death, and closed the case. But here's the shocking part. Police later admitted that the investigation was incomplete. Think about that admission. Law enforcement closed a case, ruled it an accident, and moved on, only to later acknowledge they didn't do a thorough job. What does incomplete mean exactly? What leads weren't followed? What witnesses weren't properly interviewed? What evidence wasn't collected? The investigation had multiple problems. Problem 1. The focus seemed to immediately be on proving an accident rather than investigating all possibilities. Critics say police had tunnel vision from the start, interpreting every piece of evidence through the lens of drunk girl wanders into freezer instead of considering alternatives. Problem 2. The friends at the party were questioned, but there's no indication that phones were seized and searched, that social media activity was monitored, or that anyone was brought in for intense interrogation. If this had been treated as a potential homicide from the beginning, the investigation would have looked very different. Problem 3. The hotel's role in the death wasn't thoroughly examined by police. It took a civil lawsuit to uncover the extent of the hotel's negligence. Why didn't the criminal investigation focus more heavily on security failures and potential criminal negligence by hotel staff? Problem 4. The scene processing. Was the freezer properly processed as a potential crime scene? Were there fingerprints besides Kenneka's? Was there DNA evidence? Were the door handles tested? Was the temperature logged? We don't have answers to these basic forensic questions. The incomplete investigation admission only strengthened the resolve of people who believed there was a cover-up, or that police simply didn't care enough about a young Black woman's death to do their jobs properly. Listen, we're about to get into the most recent and disturbing developments in this case, but I need your help right now. Drop a comment below and tell me, what do you think was the biggest mistake in this investigation? The hotel's delay? The police's incomplete work? The friends not calling for help sooner? I'm reading every single comment, and your perspective matters. Also, share this video. Teresa Martin is walking the streets of Chicago right now, still seeking justice for her daughter. The more people who know this story, the more pressure there is for answers. So share it, comment, and let's keep Kenneka's memory alive. Now let's talk about what just happened. Fact number 2. In 2018, Teresa Martin filed a $50 million wrongful death lawsuit against the Crowne Plaza Hotel, the parent company, security companies, and others. The lawsuit alleged gross negligence on every level: failing to secure premises, failing to respond appropriately to the missing person report, failing to shut down an illegal party, and creating dangerous conditions. For 5 years, the case proceeded through the legal system. Discovery revealed damning evidence about the hotel's practices. And in December 2023, just before trial, a settlement was reached: $10 million. After legal fees, the family received approximately $6.4 million. It was supposed to bring closure. It was supposed to be justice, at least in the civil sense. But then came November 22nd, 2025. Teresa Martin posted a lengthy Facebook message that sent shockwaves through everyone who'd been following the case. She alleged that she was forced to accept the settlement. According to Teresa, she was tricked into accepting the deal. She was held in rooms for hours and not allowed to leave until she agreed to terms. She was pressured to record videos saying things she didn't believe. She was told she could never talk about her daughter's case again. She still doesn't have her daughter's belongings, including the critical cell phone. Teresa wrote, "They forced us, had us in rooms for hours, and would not let us go until we said what they wanted us to say. Now, these are serious allegations. If true, they would suggest that Teresa's consent to the settlement wasn't truly voluntary. But we have to be careful here. Settlement negotiations are often intense and emotionally charged. Attorneys sometimes use high-pressure tactics. That doesn't necessarily mean anything illegal happened. But it does raise questions. Was Teresa properly represented? Did she fully understand what she was agreeing to? Was she in the right mental state to make such a significant decision? And most importantly, why does a mother who just received $6.4 million still feel like she has no answers, no justice, and no peace?" Teresa also expressed fear in her post, saying, "I might be back in court," because she was speaking out in violation of what she was told. This suggests there may have been confidentiality clauses or non-disparagement agreements as part of the settlement. Common in such cases, but devastating for a mother who just wants the truth. Fact number 1, and now the most shocking and heartbreaking fact of all. December 6th, 2025. Just 2 weeks after Teresa Martin posted her allegations about being forced into silence, she was captured on video walking through the streets of Chicago near Ashland and 82nd Street. It was one of the coldest days of the year, and Teresa Martin was completely unclothed, barefoot in the snow, screaming, "Justice for Kenneka! Look what they did to my body!" Witnesses tried to help her. They offered clothes. They begged her to get warm. But Teresa seemed lost in her own world, reliving her daughter's death in the most literal and tragic way possible, wandering in the cold, just as Kenneka had died from cold. The videos are absolutely heartbreaking. This is a woman who appears to be suffering from severe hypothermia herself, possibly in the midst of a complete mental breakdown, recreating the circumstances of her daughter's death as if she could somehow understand it by experiencing it. Was this a psychotic break? Was it substance-induced? Was it the culmination of 8 years of unprocessed trauma, grief, and unanswered questions finally breaking a mother's mind? Teresa's daughter, Kenneka's sister, Harris Leonore, responded with heartbreaking words. "I will always love and support her. She's all my kids, and I have ever had. God, I know you're going to heal her." Chicago activist Jedediah Brown, who previously supported the family, posted critical comments questioning Teresa's mental state and the validity of her recent allegations. The internet exploded with reactions ranging from deep sympathy to harsh judgment. Some people see a grieving mother driven to madness by a system that failed her twice, first by letting her daughter die, then by silencing her. Others see signs of mental illness that require immediate intervention. But here's what we can't ignore. Teresa Martin walked barefoot through Chicago in freezing temperatures, shouting about her daughter being killed, just weeks after claiming she was forced into silence. Whether you believe her allegations or not, whether you think she needs psychiatric help or not, one thing is undeniable. This woman is not okay. She has not healed. The settlement did not bring her peace. And maybe that's the most shocking fact of all, that 8 years later, millions of dollars later, investigation closed and case settled, a mother still doesn't have answers, still doesn't have her daughter's belongings, still doesn't have rest. What's the truth? We honestly don't know. Maybe it really was a tragic accident, a perfect storm of intoxication, hotel negligence, and terrible luck. Maybe there's something darker that we'll never know because the investigation wasn't thorough enough. But here's what I do know. A 19-year-old girl is dead. A mother is broken. A system failed. And 8 years later, we still don't have satisfying answers. Whether Kenneka Jenkins accidentally wandered into that freezer or whether something more sinister happened, she deserved better. She deserved a hotel that kept its guests safe. She deserved an investigation that left no stone unturned. She deserved friends who protected her. She deserved justice. And Teresa Martin deserves to have her daughter's belongings returned. She deserves to see the cell phone records. She deserves to know exactly what happened in those final hours. She deserves peace. And she deserves support and mental health care as she navigates this unimaginable grief. Kenneka Jenkins' case isn't closed. Not really. Not as long as her mother is walking the streets shouting for justice. Not as long as questions remain unanswered. Not as long as we refuse to forget. This is Crime Bitz. We don't let cases die just because the system says they're closed. If this video affected you, subscribe to this channel right now. Share this video everywhere. Let's make sure Kenneka Jenkins' story reaches millions of people. Let's put pressure on authorities to answer the remaining questions. Let's support Teresa Martin's quest for truth, even as we hope she gets the help she needs. Comment below. What's your theory? Accident or something more? And what should be done next to finally bring this family peace? I'm Crime Bitz, and this was the Kenneka Jenkins case. 10 shocking facts that prove this mystery is far from solved. Justice for Kenneka.